Hello and welcome back to Heirs and Graces. I wish I had a clear answer to that question. Borges let out a sigh and rubs his forehead. It's something new. I haven't seen it before and I have yet to find a doctor who has. First I thought it might be a mix of things, but no, that doesn't seem to be the case. It'd be easier to treat if it was. Lets out another frustrated sigh. You can treat the symptoms and it'll look like he's been cured for a while, but then they come back a little while later, stronger than ever. But you can't not treat them because Lord Sandor's condition will get worse anyway. He runs a hand through his hair in a frustrated manner as he lets out a tired sigh. To be perfectly honest, I'm at a loss. I've been at a loss for a long time now. So there's really nothing you can do. Honestly, that might be the case. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't have admitted that. No, it's fine, I get it. Do you? He asks it as if he's not sure of the answer himself. That leaves me wondering if I've really interpreted him correctly after all. I let the silence hang in the air for a moment before deciding Bourget's question requires some sort of answer. So what should I say? You're worn out. Which she apparently appreciates. I'm worn out? Yeah. I think it sounds like you're a bit burned out. Sometimes taking a break is the best thing you can do. Take a step back and things might get a little clearer. Bourget gives me a small smile. You're right about that much. Unfortunately, Lord Sandor's condition may not wait for me to take a break. I'm not telling you to take a long vacation or anything, just an hour or two when you want, focused on what you can do to help him. If Lord Sandor can't wait that long, there isn't much you're going to be able to do for him anyway. Maybe. People die. Sorry. As if you if you've seen my vlog from last week, you understand why this is taking its toll on me. People die. It's the way the world works. You can't save all of them, no matter how hard you try. You have to accept that, or you'll go crazy. I'm not saying you shouldn't try your best, but you can't run yourself ragged either. Your health is important too. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to help anyone. You want to save them all, huh? That line of logic. That's right. Bourget goes quiet for a moment before giving me a small smile. You're kind of a pessimist, aren't you, Marcel? That has nothing to do with what I was trying to say. It's alright. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, it's just an observation. Well, it's the most practical way to be. If you get your hopes up too much over every little thing, you're only going to end up disappointed in the end. So, yeah, I'm a pessimist. I'm not ashamed of it either. But we were talking about you, not me. Bourget lets out a small chuckle. Sorry, I didn't mean to change the subject. He's more amused than apologetic. In fact, he's probably not sorry at all. Anyway, to tie into my former comment, I try to be the opposite. It's not easy to be optimistic all of the time, but I think I prefer it. It helps to imagine that everything can turn out alright as long as you don't give up. I'd like to thank you for reminding me of that. Huh? But I didn't... Oh, I have no doubt that wasn't your intention. Still, talking with you has renewed my resolve. And regardless of what you said, you did so because you were worried about me, right? Well... I blushed slightly in embarrassment. I'm not exactly used to people calling me out like that. I guess. Thank you. I stopped myself, getting the sense that Bourget would continue thanking me no matter what I said. I decided I should just accept it, thinking that will be easier the way to move things along. You're welcome. I don't really feel like I did anything, though. Well, sometimes something small is all it takes to help someone. I stare at Bourget for a while. It's a silly concept, but I don't dislike it. If I helped him even a little bit, then... well, I guess I'm glad. I have some time off, and I was thinking of spending it reading, but Lord Sandor has so many books it's hard to settle on just one. After much deliberation, I've narrowed my search down to the history section, but I still haven't decided on a specific book. I take my time looking over the various titles when I notice a misplaced book. Instead of being a historical novel like the rest of its companions, it's a medical book about ailments and how to treat them. That's interesting. I mean, I don't exactly have a desire to become a doctor, but maybe this book has some information that could help Lord Sandor. I pull it out and automatically open it up to a random page. This isn't what I was looking for, but I get the feeling that this is a book I meant to read. I shut it quickly and head over to the shelf where it actually belongs. I can't believe I was almost taken in by such a stupid thought. It's a book that was misplaced by someone. There's nothing fated about it. I see the empty spot where it's supposed to go and I start putting it back, but as it slides into place, I hesitate. I'm making this into a big deal when it's really not. I mean, I was looking for something to read. It might as well be this book, right? I feel a little weird about it, but I go ahead and pull the book out of its slot. Right. Okay, guess I'm doing this. I take it with me as I head outside. Instead of my usual outdoor spot in the garden, I've chosen to sit on a bench near the mansion's front entrance. I don't really feel like explaining to Kamal why I'm reading a medical book. And again, he probably wouldn't bother asking. I'm the only one who's being ridiculous about this. I sigh and push that thought aside, and I decide to use the sound to read something, so I'm going to do it. Enough stalling. I open the book and scan the table of contents before deciding to start at the beginning. I could probably pick and choose to exclude information that isn't relevant to Lord Sandor's condition, but I don't want to risk missing anything. This book is actually kind of difficult. It's not so much the subject as the way it's written. It feels needlessly complicated, as if the author prioritised showing off how much they know over clarity. Of course, it could just be me not being used to all the medical terms. Either way, it's hard for me to follow, and some of the concepts go completely over my head. I work my way through several sections anyway, hoping I'll figure out what I need along the way. Hell, I could probably ask Bourget. I don't think he'd mind answering my questions. And again, I really shouldn't be wasting his time. I chew my bottom lip absent-mindedly as I try to think of a solution. There are other books in the library. If I'm not willing to ask Bourget, I can try looking through them. I might be able to find out what I need there. Write down things I want to look into, see what I can find out. Of course, I didn't bring anything to write with. I wasn't exactly planning on doing research instead of reading for fun when I started searching the library today. I stare at the page for a minute, wondering if I should bother going to find something to write with. But I'm not sure if it's worth the effort. Then again, if I'm doing this, I might as well give it my all, right? Even if I can't come up with anything to help Lord Sandor, I might learn something. And that should be good enough. Right? I try to talk myself into it, but for very good reason I come up with more reasons not to. That is some interesting reading material I've got there. Startled, I slam the book shut and look up from my seated position to see Bourget. Bourget? Sorry, I didn't notice you standing there. It's quite alright. I must say, I didn't realise you had an interest in the medical field. No, it's not that. Though, maybe I should have just said it was. I'm not nearly as comfortable with the real reason. I see. I should have realised sooner. Bourget smiles to himself, and I get the feeling I'm not going to like what he has to say next. You're actually worried about him, aren't you? That's not it either. It's just it's a book. It doesn't mean anything. I deny it just a little too adamantly. I imagine Bourget sees right through me, but he's nice enough not to say anything. I sigh and grudgingly admit a piece of it. It's just... if I have a choice, I'd rather him not be dead, I guess. But it's stupid. It's not like I'm going to come up with anything you and the other doctors haven't tried already by reading some book I barely understand. Bourget lets out a sigh, and then takes a seat next to me. You know, in a way, you might actually be more qualified to come up with something simply because you don't know what you're doing. You won't automatically assume something doesn't work, so you might not overlook some things that an experienced doctor would. Maybe. I still doubt it'd be helpful. Well, what I'm doing hasn't exactly been helpful either. You've kept him alive. It's not exactly useless, you know. Yes, you're right, of course. The delay in his response tells me he has doubts. Why would he have doubts? That doesn't make a lot of sense unless... Maybe deep down, he thinks that Lord Sandor would be better off dead. I think I'm going to do that line again. Maybe deep down he thinks that Lord Sandor would be better off dead. That's kind of a grim thought, and last time Borges and I really talked, he pretty much declared himself an optimist. That's not the kind of thought an optimist would have. And again, what people tell you and what they think and feel aren't necessarily the same thing. Borges turns my way and gives me a smile. And yes, I know I'm being really inconsistent about the way I pronounce Borges' name. Sorry. Sorry. I'm being gloomy again, aren't I? I don't mean to be. I was actually trying to have a normal conversation with you. He lets out a small laugh. Maybe next time, huh? Anyway, my point is you shouldn't let inexperience stop you. If you come up with anything, I'd be more than happy to hear you out. Who knows, you might just stumble upon something useful. Of course, that's only if you want to. Don't stress yourself out over it or anything. I sigh. I don't know what I want to do. Flipping through the pages of the book discouraged me a little more than I'd like to admit. I do want to help Borges out, but realistically, I don't think there's anything I can do. I should probably just quit. I can't do this. It was stupid to even take the book off the shelf. Sorry. For what? I'm not... I trail off. I can't even seem to finish the sentence. I want to quit, but saying I want to quit when Borges is still trying doesn't seem right. Even if I know all the work I put into it will amount to nothing, quitting is just as hard as continuing. Never mind. I run my hands up the back of my head and ruffle my hair, trying to force some kind of focus to magically realise. I won't quit yet. Thanks. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but... Well, even if you don't get anywhere, knowing you're working hard will encourage me to do my best as well. Normally, I would have assumed that he was just humouring me, but there's a sincerity in his tone that makes me believe I might really be helping him. If all I have to do is keep trying, I guess I can do that much. I turn towards Borges with a newfound resolve. Right. I had a few questions. Since you're here, I might as well ask them. Borges looks a bit surprised as I start listing off several questions I had in rapid succession. Eventually, Borges has to cut me off. Marcel, I admire your enthusiasm, but if it's alright with you, I'd prefer if we did this one question at a time. I blushed slightly in embarrassment. Of course, it would be more convenient to go through these sorts of things one at a time. I can't believe how carried away I got. Sorry. Don't be. You're actually taking this more seriously than I thought you were. Well, I'm impressed. The compliment makes me even more embarrassed. I try to brush it off. Well, if I'm gonna waste my time doing something, I might as well be serious about it, right? Borges smiles warmly. God's sake, man, stop bloody yawning. Joys of it being 8:30 in the morning and me already having been up for about 3.5 hours. You're right, of course. Anyway, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. He says that. My doubts start to sink again. Are you sure? I'm not wasting your time, am I? Not at all. To be honest, I'm secretly hoping one of your questions will spark an idea. I wouldn't count on it. Don't worry, it's not all up to you. I'm continue trying other things as well. Like what? Well, for starters, I can send out more letters. I've been writing the other doctors around Aragorn to see if they have any leads, and I've gotten a few good ideas that way. Beyond that, I can at least work on finding better ways to treat his symptoms. I've been able to make some progress here, anyway. So I'm guessing it's not as hopeless as I've been making it sound. I know better than to get my hopes up. I don't want to say anything negative though, so I keep my mouth shut. Silence between us lingers a bit longer before Borges speaks up. So, about those questions? Ah, right. I kind of want to get something to take notes with, but I don't want to waste any of Borges' time. Oh, he won't mind if I ask for a pen. I hate to ask, but Do you mind waiting a minute? I'd like to get something to take notes with. Yeah, I figured he'd appreciate that. Oh, I don't mind at all. In fact, I think that's a good idea. Oh boy. But of course, you don't have to go searching. I should have a notebook in my bag. I'll need it back, of course, but you can certainly have a few pages. He pulls the bag up and rifles through it before producing what I need. Thanks, Bourget. No problem. We shall get started then. I know how to begin asking my questions one by one, and I write my own notes, but occasionally Bourget takes the notebook from me and writes his own before handing it back. And by the end of our session, I have a lot of good material to work with. I think I even understand it. You're a good teacher, you know that? You think so? I do. You're clear with your instructions? And you stopped a lot to make sure I understood what you were saying. I couldn't have avoided learning something if I tried. That's nice of you to say. It's just what I think. Bourget takes the notebook from me and tears out the pages meant for me before handing them over. Once I have them, he starts packing up his things. Guess that's all the time we have for today. You know, I have a book that might be helpful to you. It's easier to understand than most of them. It's a good place to start. I'll bring it for you next time if you'd like. Yeah, why not? Good. Settled then. I'll bring it along my next visit. He hesitates, his cheerful expression turning to a frown. Of course, it's been a while since I used it. It might be hard to find. If you can't find it, that's fine. Don't stress yourself out over it. There are other things I can read in the meantime. Right. Hopefully I'm worrying over nothing. Might actually be really easy to find for all I know. Bourget stands up and brushes his clothes off. Well, I'd better get going. Sorry I can't stay longer. It's fine. I know you have higher priorities than me. Don't say it like that. What's wrong with the way I say it? The way you say it makes it sound like you don't think you're important, and that's not true. I didn't mean it that way at all. I just meant that since he's a doctor and there are actually lives on the line, that definitely takes priority over answering my stupid questions. Still, it's actually kind of nice hearing Bourget say I'm important, even if he is just saying it to be nice. Then, how about I see you soon and leave it at that? Sounds good. I'll see you soon, Marcel. Bourget takes his leave and I turn my attention back to the book. I pick it up and give reading it another try. Unlock the bad ending scene. Bad reputation. My performance hasn't been great lately. In fact, it's been downright awful. Vincent hasn't said anything about it yet, but I can't keep doing this. Staying will just cause more trouble for everyone, and I don't want that. Besides, if I continue at this rate, Vincent will be forced to fire me eventually anyway. It's better to disappear before that. I let out a sigh and gather my things. Well, that's that. It's time to go. I'll probably head home. I might not belong here, but I always have a place there. I leave my room behind for good and head out the front door. Nobody stops me. And again, they probably think I'm just going into town for a bit. Kamal might have actually been able to tell something about me was off, but thankfully I didn't run into him. Yep. Well, that was a depressing failure. I like the bad ending scene. Right, well, what do I want to do? I could replay it with some different skill checks to get things a little bit higher. You know, and just effectively go back to that point. But honestly, guys, I don't have time this week. Honestly, I feel really bad, you know, just getting a bad ending on this one. But as with everything going on in my personal life this week, I don't really have time. So, tell you what, here's what I'll do. As soon as I have, I'll put this up now, And as soon as I have more time, so I don't know, it'll probably be a few weeks at least. It'll be a little while, but I'll record another run through and upload it over weekends, like I did when I was finishing off Demon Bane and things like that. Because I feel bad just leaving you with a bad ending like that. But again, joys of grandparents in hospital. So thank you very much for watching. Sorry this series came to a rather abrupt end, but as I will definitely redo it and actually attempt to get a proper ending at some point in the future. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in future series.